If we don't get our mind right, this business will chew you up and spit you out. Because when you get really busy, it's very challenging to lead generate. And we know that's the one thing that keeps the business going. We took 5 listings this week for a total of
Wow.
2.4 million in volume just this week alone.
Holy
It was a
mackerel.
good week. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a good week. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And they were all off expired listings. Just pick up the phone and ask for business. Just fail through it. Ask for business, figure it out as you go, and you're going to pick up listings here and there. And before you
Yeah.
know it, you're going to get this momentum and it's just going to start popping. That's basically what I did.
It's that time. Welcome to Roadmap, how to take 3 listings a week until you're ready for more. Each week, we interview a great agent who's consistently taking several listings each month. And we have an exciting guest today. We encourage you to take notes and apply as much of their knowledge as quickly as you can, and then use the
Copy cat principle.
Let me introduce my shy co-host.
Yeah.
Camp Dennison, Ohio.
Moving with cobblers.
Home in the pastures, and just outside of Cincinnati. Sarah Close. Welcome,
Hi.
Sarah.
Thanks for having me, Ren. This is a lot of fun.
Those of you who don't know Sarah, and many of you do know, Sarah has a real estate company in Southern Ohio, includes Dayton, Ohio, Westchester, Ohio, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, parts of Indiana. Are you doing Indiana?
We're our market centers aren't in Indiana, but we do have a brokerage license here. So we have some agents that cover all 3 states, which is kind of fun.
Good deal. And Sarah and her team. The goal is
About 200 units this year. Yeah.
200 units. She's going to sell 200, have 200 sales, and she's making those calls. She's calling expires for sale by owners around listings and sales and her database, I assume, and all that good stuff. And how many agents do you have now at the brokerage?
The brokerage is together right about 560. So we work with some really fun people. It's a lot of fun.
Very tiny company.
Yeah, so it's good folks. So it's a lot of fun for me. So
yeah, I think you're like number 4 or 5 in companies from what I see in this major metropolitan area. So
we're at 4 right now. So
you're number 4. Congratulations. Yeah.
And then 2. No,
that's a major accomplishment.
Yeah, it's exciting. So let's forget about me. Let's get to Corey.
That's his name. Our guest today from Fort Worth and the surrounding area, Corey Daniel. Hi, Corey.
Hey, Rand. How are you?
Good. Good.
Glad you are here.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your business and kind of how you got to be on one of our Hollywood squares here today and all that good stuff.
You're so funny. Yes, thanks for having me. So I'm originally from Central Louisiana. I moved to Texas about 10 years ago. And currently where I live now in Fort Worth, I've been here for about 8 years. And I got in real estate just under 6 years ago to a town I've never even heard of. Didn't know anyone here. Met my wife. We've been married for 7. We have 2 little kids, and she's licensed as well. And this year we're going to do about 44 units and just a little bit over 10 million in volume. And our goal for next year, we were setting our goals a few weeks ago, 71 closed units for next year. 15 million in volume is our goal for next year, 2022. We're already working on that, right? We're in October. So
you got that right. 4th quarter begins the new year. Well, you've had a pretty successful run here since you've joined the big city of Fort Worth. You found your life partner, you got a couple of kids, you got a great real estate career that's going. Talk to us a little bit about what you've done so far to create that kind of volume in a town where you didn't know anyone and you got started cold.
Absolutely. So clearly, it didn't take long to learn from other agents who were ahead of me in the business that your database is everything, and those numbers in your database will reflect your closed units. And I learned quickly, I didn't have much of a database. I did have a phone and probably had about 50 contacts, and just basically learned. I'm very much a numbers guy, and learned based off conversion rates and numbers in your database that it was not sustainable to pay my bills and things like that. So of course, expires and cancels seemed like an easy way to go. And I've pretty much built my whole business. I've built my whole business off cold calling. From there to where we are today, I can tell you my business is about 50-50 now, cold calling and now Sphere, because as people learn and expireds actually want to do business with realtors. They just maybe didn't
Right.
have a great realtor before, and they'll send you business over time as well. And so we really have gone deep with the expires over years after selling our house, and we're getting referrals from them as well. But my whole
Wow,
business is built off cold calling, like the whole thing. And
that's amazing.
it is. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Okay, so
So
what I heard you say is that you started with a database of 50, and now you've grown your database primarily through outward going energy prospecting
mhm.
wise to cancels and expireds. What do you think your database size is right now?
I know exactly what it is. It's 1,700. However, we have taken kind of the approach that we go very narrow. So
Mhm.
we have about 350 people through cold calling, expireds, and we go very deep with those relationships there. So
Okay.
my goal each and every day is 10 contacts and 2 nurtures every day. Of
Okay.
course, setting an appointment is the ultimate goal. Yet we know just from doing this every day that it's not always realistic,
Right.
especially now that almost everything's selling. You don't get all those new expireds. So where you call it 8 o'clock in the morning and that very low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yet, so we market heavily to about 350 people, and everyone else is just basically on some kind of campaign
Okay.
through our CRM. Mhm.
Okay, great. Let me ask you a couple questions if you don't mind. Like nurture, define a nurture for us.
Absolutely.
What does a nurture mean for you and your group?
Perfect. That's a great question. And I was just actually having this conversation with a new agent this morning. So basically, we have a system. A system is just a script, and that script basically vets the conversation. And
Mhm.
we ask those questions, and based off that conversation, is it worth our time to keep following up with them? Basically, we're going to wear them out with the questions to either they're going to hang up, tell us
Mhm.
to stop calling, or they're going to give me permission to keep calling back, or they're going to give me the appointment. That's really
Okay.
it. And
Yeah.
based off of those questions, that's how we determine our follow up. So, and we'll just put them in a campaign and just keep following up with them until we get the listing.
Okay, gotcha. So do you have specific criteria that you use when you say, yep, this guy makes the campaign bucket? Or is it fluid, just kind of a, yeah, this feels like I can probably find something? What is that? How do you assess that?
So I always ask. It's a question I always ask: is do you have an agent that you feel comfortable referring family and friends to? If
Hmm.
not, even if they're an expired, I'm always looking for an opportunity. So maybe they don't want to sell. They, whatever that conversation may be, I still want to create a relationship because I'm
Hmm.
looking for an angle, right, to get my foot in the door. And so if they're not going to give me the appointment, which I'm going to ask for, then I'm going to ask, well, I would still love to partner with you, even if you don't want to sell your house. I'd love
Sure.
to, you're any of your family and friends that need some real estate assistance. I'd love to be that person. And so that's really where we go because then that tells me if they have an agent or not and if they're
Right.
committed to the agent or not. And so those are some of the criteria we use. If they're like, I have an agent, no matter what you say, dude, I'm still going to go
Right.
with an agent. I'm just not going to worry about that. I know a lot of
Sure.
realtors will try to beat that fence down. I'm like, cool, next. I just go to the next contact.
So you're
Um,
really drilling it down. You're asking the question, yes or no. Do you have one that you're comfortable with? And might as well get
that's
that
it.
off the table and find out,
That's
are
it.
they willing to send you business?
Mhm.
That's it.
And then
Exactly.
they're in the 350. Otherwise, they're in the 1700, right?
That's exactly right.
So
Yes.
yeah, so
And
it sounds like with the database, you put it, you have like A level and B level. And A level, you're talking to them two or
exactly.
three times a month, and B level, your computer's talking to them. Something
Yeah. So
like,
A level, exactly. I mean, you just exactly, Rand. You just hit it on the head. ABCs. That's how we do it.
okay,
C's
you're doing A,
are
B, and C. Okay, you got three tiers. You want to explain roughly what A, B, and C, how that falls?
so basically every day I'm looking for B's. That's all I'm looking for. A's are my past clients, referral clients, best vendor
They've
partners, all that. But
graduated to A. They start as a B and they graduate to A,
that's exactly right.
or
We're
they
up
go
to
down to C.
exactly. Yes. So based off continuing vetting them over time, they will exactly go from a B to a C. But every day we're trying to put people in that B category. And that B category, I didn't want to go into a lot of detail, but that B category is our 350. Like that's where we put all our effort and time. And we call them at least 4 times a year. And it's basically cancels and expires. I mean, honestly, for the most part, or circle prospecting people that we met as well through Vulcan.
Okay, and so the A's are actually like past clients or people that raised their hand and said, I'll send you business, or they've proven they'll send you business. That's the A's.
That's exactly right. That's it.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I got the picture.
Hmm.
That powerful. And what he's doing here, folks, is the ideal setup for a database because you're
That's
Absolutely.
not
right.
gonna you can't call all 1,700 equally. You're gonna miss a lot of opportunities. And if you stage it A, B, and C like that, if they're proven, they need a lot of your attention. And B, they need a fair amount of attention. C, you need to say hello every now and then.
That's
Right.
right. Yeah.
No, that makes a
We're
lot of sense.
actually, I'm calling through our Cs right now, slowly but surely, about 15 a day is my goal. Um, and I clearly stick to a schedule and I follow that lead generation schedule in the morning, and they're at the very bottom of that in the morning. And I just go through that and I hand dial those because I don't want them.
Yeah.
I don't want them in there. And it's so funny. I've actually moved several of those up into my B category that I thought, oh man, they'll never do business with me. But I think what it really boils down to is my scripts have gotten better and my skill set has gotten better. So now I know what questions to ask. Whereas before, I didn't know what to ask and I wasn't
Well, how are
good
you
at it.
sharpening your skill? Is it just from doing it a lot, or actually are you studying and looking for best practices, or any thoughts there?
Absolutely. So I've been part of the Take 52 group, and I plug into every training that I possibly can with that group. Meets Tuesdays and Thursdays here. It's amazing opportunity to connect with other realtors who are really crushing at a high level.
Okay.
Also, I surround myself around here with realtors that I'm holding on to their coattail, and they're dragging me into my next level of production. So I surround myself with people who I want to be like.
So
And
are you
then
shadowing them, or how does that work?
yes, I do
You are doing
shadow.
shadowing. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I'll go and I'll sit on a team like the Loken group that we're all familiar with.
Oh
And I'll
yeah,
just go,
yeah.
yeah, they'll let you shadow.
Lance and Karina, yes.
Yeah, they're just 3 or 4 hours south of us.
Right, and so
And
they're
then,
not really competition because they're way over in Houston.
mhm, right.
Oh, so they
Yes.
feel safe enough to let you shadow.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
point I'm making here, Corey, is that we encourage a lot of people to go shadow,
Mhm.
but a lot of times that means you have to drive 3 or 4 hours or get on an airplane
Yeah.
and spend a half a day to a day with
Yes.
somebody. Shadow them, learn as much as you can. They're up at this level, learn everything you can, come back, do that like once, 8 times a year. So, and you're doing
Right.
it, you're just driving to Houston, spending time with them, because aren't they like the top 10 in the world now, or in the nation in
Yeah.
sales or
They're
something like that?
They're
they're
amazing.
incredible. They're incredible. I mean, and the other thing, Ren, is now everyone's getting on Zoom calls, and you can shadow people on a Zoom call and just kind of sit like a fly on the wall and just listen as people make those calls. And
There are a lot of Zoom groups where people get together every morning and they prospect together. They're
yes,
all making calls. You can listen to them and whatnot. And if they walk away from where they are, you're like, "Hello, Debbie,
that's
get
right.
back on the phone." So yeah,
Yes, and it's
Absolutely.
immediate feedback too. Those agents they're listening to you and they're like, "Hey, Corey, in that situation, I would have said this here." And so I'm just sitting there taking notes and just and my script is literally in front of me every morning. I mean, I have it so internalized, but I don't want to mess up. I want to make
Right.
sure I ask the questions, and
so
I
it's
don't have it all
vital to
figured
keep
out.
honing our craft and our skill and get to where we're asking very, very well crafted questions to get a better result in a shorter amount of time, which is what basically what
Yes.
you were saying in this.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Corey, do you mind sharing with us some of those questions that you go through and kind of the anatomy of your script?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, this is Corey Daniel here with the Daniel Real Estate Group. I see that your home was on the market some time back and didn't sell. Just out of curiosity, Sarah, did you have a change of plans or do you still have interest in selling? And I just
Well,
basically pause.
okay, couldn't get it sold. Just, don't know what the problem was.
Hey, I understand. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I specialize in homes that didn't sell, that failed for the first time for some reason. When would you be available to meet with me so I can show you a different way to get your home sold? And I just go straight. I just ask for it.
You
I don't
go.
beat around the bush.
Very
Yeah,
direct. Yeah. Yeah. Very
yeah.
direct. That's terrific.
If
So
they
when
say
you're,
no, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And I just kind of have switched it around. I know there's different scripts out there. If
Mhm.
they say no, I just say, hey, I understand. Let me ask, if you received an offer in the next 30 days, would you reconsider? And then
Mhm.
they're thinking, and they're like, no, well, like, well, hey, what if it's a full price cash offer? Would you reconsider? And then it really gets them thinking, and I
Mhm.
can hear them thinking. And when they say that, they're like, well, if an all cash offer in the next 30 days, I'm like, oh, good. So there is interest in still selling. Well,
Right.
then I go into, well, why did you put your house in the market? And I go through all that right there,
Okay.
find their motivation again.
Right. Excellent.
So, mhm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What about the follow-up calls? So the people that you've got in your pond, but then you're going to try to move them up, and maybe you've talked to them 4, 5, 6 times now. And I guess twofold question. How often will you follow up? How many times do you follow up? And
It
what do you
really,
see
oh,
differently?
sorry.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
big. I'm excited. Um, so it depends on the conversation. If they're super hot lead and they say, "Yeah, we're interviewing agents now," I mean, I'm calling the next day. I mean, I put it in my CRM immediately, and I put hot in all caps, exclamation mark, hot, 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 and I immediately call them. That's clearly where I start in the morning in my pipeline, and then I start with expireds and other things. I call them immediately. If not, then I will follow a system of an 8x8 campaign, and we have a specific 8x8 campaign that we use specifically for expireds,
Can you tell
specifically
us
for
what an
net.
8x8 campaign is exactly?
It's 8 touches in 8 weeks. Ours is actually 9 or 10. And what we will do is, as soon as I get off the phone, the very end of the day, I'll just start pulling my handwritten notes, send a business card, and then I will actually send them a text video as soon as I send it, just saying, "Hey, Sarah, this is Corey Daniel. Spoke to you earlier, yada, yada, yada. Sending you my business card. Hey, great talking with you. I'll follow it with you down the road." And I'll follow it with them in the next 3 weeks, send them a postcard or something in between, and just keep following up with them as
Sure.
well. And so I'll talk to them 3 times or 4 times in that 8 weeks. Plus, they'll get postcards and other stuff in between all that. And then from there, at the end of that 8 weeks, we'll determine if we want to keep following up with them or not. And
Okay.
maybe cost us $3 or $4 to send those postcards.
Oh,
So our
yeah.
return on
Very
investment
cool.
is way greater than just that little $3. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. What service are you using for your video texts? How do you do that?
I just do it on my cell phone. I
Just a
don't,
regular?
yeah. Yeah, simply just put their number in, send the text, and then they will sometimes start texting me back, and I'll keep that conversation going. And so that's really my goal, is to keep that conversation going. And
Sure.
clearly, when I'm in appointments and stuff, I can take my phone on the go with me and keep that going in the car and stuff in between appointments, and even once I get home. So,
That's great.
and yeah,
That's awesome. So you're looking to speak with 10 contacts a day and you're looking for 2 nurturers and of course an appointment. When you set up your lead gen for the day, how much time are you setting aside for that? And how many dials do you think you're making to get those results?
absolutely. Um, every day is different. Clearly, it ranges from about 2 to 4.
Mhm.
Clearly, I would prefer the 4. So I would say we're at least hitting, and I'd have to go back and look, at least 100 dials in a session, at
Okay.
least, maybe 200 at a time. It just really depends. Um, it just depends. It really depends. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna work for it. I mean, you're working for those leads, you know?
Yeah, it's not just all on HGTV
Yeah.
where you show up in the Mercedes and get the big check, is it? There's this part of it
Exactly.
too. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So we work for that
Absolutely.
business. Yes.
That's awesome. Gosh, you've built a really successful career
Thank
from
you.
a very specific source. That's
Hmm.
really fantastic. It really is. How have you adjusted your business with the tighter inventory? Because obviously
Yes.
they're not as plentiful right now. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So the past 2 years, I did the same amount of transactions, 26 both years.
Mhm.
Last year, though, we focused on higher volume, so we actually closed a lot more volume last year, and so we shifted that. Um, it really, honestly, I've just plugged in to Take 52 and groups like that, and
Mhm.
surrounded myself with like-minded people who's like, "Hey, it's gonna be okay. Just dig in and keep doing the activities that you know will produce the results." Because I'm not, I still have fears as well. I'm human just like everybody else. So I still had those thoughts going through my head like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Last year, when COVID hit, I mean, we were up 400% the first quarter. I
Wow.
think we took like 3 or 4 million in volume. Yeah, it was a really good quarter,
Incredible.
like crazy good. And then it just all crashed. And we're like, ah, but we stuck it out. And I would say by June of last year, I ended up having my best year. And then my fourth quarter last year was my best quarter ever. And this quarter, we're going to close to 3 or 4 million this
Wow.
fourth quarter coming up. And so I just dug in, and as the market has picked up, I use that as an opportunity to adjust my script when I'm calling and say, there's tremendous opportunities right now for sellers. And
Yeah.
that little change with the old expireds has gone a long way.
No, can we go back to where you say you dug in? So you talked about first quarter being up 400%, and then you kind of hit a wall, sounds like.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
there was this trough, or the gap, if you will, and then
Yes.
you got back after it. So talk to us a little bit about what were you doing in your headspace? What does digging in mean? Because it's sometimes when you're in that trough, it can feel a little scary when you don't know what's going to be on the other side. How did you tough it out? What was going on in your mind?
So I'm sure, like most people, we're pretty familiar with the book Miracle Morning, and so I'm really big on affirmations,
Mhm.
quiet time. I stick to the schedule, and then I make my schedule. So when I set my schedule the day before, it's
Mhm.
easier for me to come in and execute. Whereas if I have to come in the morning of and do that, and I'm guilty of that sometimes, yes, I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Sure.
Yet, like last night, I set my schedule for today. It's so easy to come in and just turn the dialer on and go because it's less brain power. Because when the market's down, I mean, let's face it, you have to work harder. So it takes more
Mhm.
energy. So I try to put things in place where I don't have to use as much energy coming into the office in the morning.
Mhm.
Listen to my affirmations, get pumped up, and I just jump on the calls.
Are you doing savers? What is that? Miracle Morning? Are you doing SAVERS? Are you doing that whole process?
I don't know if I know that acronym exactly. So what my morning looks like specifically is I wake up, drink coffee, and read something spiritual for me, and then
Okay.
after that, get ready. I don't work out as much as I should.
Okay.
Obviously, probably not at all right now. And then I go spend time with family. I guess I'm hitting these acronyms, and then from there, I come in the office, listen to my affirmations. I'm really big on Eric Thomas. Love him. And then from there, I turn my phone off. I have a different cell phone, put this on do not disturb, and it's away from me, and just start dialing.
Okay. And
And
if you didn't go through that pre lead generation routine, what would it be like if you didn't do it? What's it like if you do it? What do you how important is that? Can you quantify that so that people are looking like, well, I don't want to do that. I'll just go straight in and help them understand why that's such a critical piece.
you know, I- we're all human, and it's easy. And I know I'm guilty of this. It's easy to see shiny agents who are doing really well and just think, man, they just got there, didn't do anything to get there, it just naturally came to them. Yada yada yada. And the more I've plugged into organizations such as this and surround myself with other agents, they all struggle with mindset. And if we don't get our mind right, this business will chew you up and spit you out. Because when you get really busy, it's very challenging to lead generate. And we know that's the one thing that keeps the business going. And so we have to stay in a positive mindset to keep ourselves there. So when I don't do that, to answer your question, I struggle a little bit. I do. I struggle. I feel like I don't have something to inspire me. I don't have a purpose. And so those things give me purpose. My spiritual life is directly tied to my family, right? Because I want my kids to live by spiritual principles and things like that. So I have to be that person for them. And then my why is my family. So I have all my stuff on my board in front of my computer.
I was
And
about to ask if that is you have okay, you have a dream board. You have
oh, yes.
the things you
Yes.
want to have, places you want to go, things you want to do on some sort of okay.
Yes.
And what and if you didn't have that there versus having it there, what's the impact?
It's huge because I mean, if I don't start with that, I have nowhere to go, and it doesn't give me a why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's clearly not about the money even anymore. Even though when I first started, I was definitely in lacking mode, but now it's just like I just want to be a better person, and real estate helps me to be a better person. It challenges me, and yes, it just gives me direction. So
And when you go through this whole process, you're doing all everything to get your mindset in a good place, and you have the dream board in front of you and all that, and the energy is way up here because this is a transference of energy. And then you're on the phone talking to this people. I mean, do you notice that
yes.
you're actually able to connect a little easier, a lot easier?
Yes, because like I'm sitting there looking at pictures of my kids, and we have paintings over here with their feet. And so I feel like it humanizes me, and people
Right.
feel that humanization, and they're
Yeah.
like, this is a real person. And that's our goal as me and my wife. We're a husband wife team. That's our goal, is to create long lasting relationships. And so when I'm on the phone, my goal is to connect with someone and make them feel comfortable enough to want to talk to me first and then do business with me as well. That's ultimately our goal. I had an expired just call me before I got on this call, and I had to let her go. Her name was Sharon, and she called me and she said she's had tons of agents call her, and the reason why she was calling me is because she felt like we cared, like we listened to her. And that's what this business is all about, listening and caring, because we have a family as well.
Well, it
And
sounds like
so,
you're coming in contribution. So some of the things that you're saying
yes,
she must get the idea that you are coming to help, coming in contribution somehow.
yes,
It sounds like
yes,
it. So I hear mindset, I hear skill because you put a lot of energy into skill and crafting the perfect questions and statements. I hear mindset's a fundamental piece, and then everything else falls into place.
It really does.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're letting your habits pull you through your morning, and then you're in the right headspace to deliver to the people that you need to serve. It's pretty cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you and your wife work together. Talk to us a little bit about how you guys handle maybe some of the opportunities and benefits of working with your significant other.
Right. So that is definitely a work in progress. Clearly, if any of us have a significant other and you work together, there can always be challenges. My hat's definitely off to those folks who never have conflict. So she would be okay with me saying that, by the way. So she came on about a year and a half ago. She was an HR recruiter for the restaurant industry. And clearly when COVID happened, restaurants shut down. She got laid off immediately. I've been wanting her on for years. So I've always seen the opportunity, that little leverage piece right there. And so I feel like the reason why we have we've grown over 70% this year. And the reason why is because now I could take those leverages such as transactions and marketing off my plate, and she handles all that, and she's licensed. And so now I'm able to make more calls and talk to more people and be more out there. So really, it's been the transaction part. I still do the negotiating from beginning to end, but she handles all the communication. And then marketing, she handles all that as well. And it's really helped us to get more purposeful with our database, because now we can get more creative with our touches and go deeper with those touches as well. So huge blessing. So she's in the office right now. I'm in.
That's fantastic. So she's handling kind of the operational side of the business, and she's handling talking with clients about inspections and that kind of stuff. And then you're doing the sales end. Is that a fair? And then how do you communicate to stay in sync with what's happening with those clients that you're both serving? What is
so
your
that's always
that?
So my method on that is simply we meet maybe once or twice a week. I mean, we're always there together, but when you're so busy, I struggle slowing down and listening. That's something I'm working on. I just want to go. And so today we met after my appointment this morning and just talked about where we are and with client follow-up and things like that. And I have to communicate to her, hey, this client wants to be communicated like this. This client wants to be communicated like this. And so we know our profiles of our clients, and I have to communicate that to her because I'm the one basically who has the relationship with them. And we want that relationship to be felt all the way through the end of the servicing of the contract. And so she knows how to follow with them and service them. And so we'll meet maybe once a week to talk the transactions. And at any time we have, 4 or 5, I think we have 6 or 7 transactions right now going. So we're a little busy, not too busy. But a little busy.
Oh, that's awesome.
How far can this go 5 years from now? How big do you want to get? What's it going to look like 5 years from now?
I love that question. Thank you for asking. I want to net $1 million. That's my goal. I don't need $1 million. We're super blessed. However, when I got into business, I was surrounded by millionaire real estate agents, and they would always say, Corey, it's not about the money. That's my Texas accent because everyone's country here. and I'm like, how can it not be about the money? You're making $1 million a year. And I realized once you start making really great money, which we do, we're so blessed, that it's not about the money anymore. Like, I got everything I could possibly want. Now I want to net $1 million because it's gonna make me a better husband, a better employee or employer to people that I'm going to be hiring. To make me a better father, and I just want to get better. And it's just chipping away at Corey more than it is.
You can build into a lot of other people around you. You don't have to put it in the warehouse, and count it.
Right.
I mean, you can do a lot with that in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
so that's fantastic. That
is fantastic.
So have you worked up a roadmap? Like, what do you have to do at each level to get there? Or is that next?
Yes. Yeah, no, we've done the different levels, level 1 through 7 type deal. I know that's a KW thing. And we tested the water with some ISAs and gone through the hiring process through that. And I have not had a lot of luck, and mainly I take blame on that. Yet we know we're going to have to leverage in order to hit those high numbers. We're going to need more leverage. So
it sounds like shadowing's next for that, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. If you're running into some roadblocks, like now, as you hit those roadblocks, you got that in your mind. go out and go, what do I need to do? You know, and to somebody that's doing it. And then they'll say, ah, and then
The
I love
clouds
that.
will part.
I just wrote that down. Thank you so much. That's great.
I mean, I think shadowing solves everything for fast growth. It
Mm,
really does. You know,
I think you're right. I think you're right. There's nothing like being in the trenches with someone while they're doing it. Because I think, at least for myself, I know that I always have a perception that it is error free and there are no, they have a clear runway when they're getting these great results. And it's really a relief, and at least it has been for me, to be in a position where I'm shadowing and to watch someone experience similar things that I have experienced and then see their solution.
right.
So,
And our belief system as a human, we can hear it on stage, we can read about it, we can watch a video on it. But when we literally go there and we're watching a human that is just like us, well, our belief system, we take it in. They put their pants on the same way I do. They were where I was 5 years ago. This is what they're doing exactly. Then all of a sudden our acceptance is so much higher.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Corey, talk to us about what you're doing to stay engaged with what you called your A clients, your affiliates and your past clients. What kind of a communication can they expect from you on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it is basis?
Absolutely. So that's bringing me pretty deep. So let me go deep on this. So clearly, the call, I just received a call today. They sent me a referral. I mean, immediately, this is just one instance, and I'll give other instances as well. I go into our CRM, create a task immediately for my wife, send a Starbucks gift card, thanking them just for thinking about us, things like that. If anything closes, we clearly take care of them and maybe take them out to dinner, do something just great. We are working on starting having events. I'm a little gun shy on that. I don't know why. We were just talking about that today, but we do pop-ins every once in a while, and I call them often. I mean, we're all connected on Facebook. We're very purposeful in engaging them on Facebook and in their lives. We stopped by just a few weeks ago, and it's a house divided. She's a Buffalo Bills fan, and he's a Dallas Cowboy fan. And yeah, I know. And when we closed on them a couple years ago, we got them a closing gift. One side said Buffalo Bills and Cowboys, and we just popped in the other day, and they were out working in the yard doing something, and they were like, "Oh, hey!" And so we just want to have just like here, like I can pick up the phone and call them anytime, and it doesn't even have to be about real estate. But they always think about it because we sent them flower seeds in the mail, or some goofy cocoa thing for Christmas, something quirky, and we call them and we comment on their kids' birthdays and stuff on Facebook, and I'll message them or something. Or if I see they have a baby, clearly I'm going to send them a free meal or something since they just had a baby or something like that. So we're very purposeful on following them, and when that data shows up in our newsfeed or something, we immediately put it into our CRM and create tasks, because sometimes we can't do it right then. And so we know when we're busy, if we don't create that task or reminder, we'll forget. But we're super purposeful on being in their lives versus just kind of hovering as their realtor, so to speak.
So it's a lot of one-on-one.
Yeah. The other thing is this. So we were talking 2 days ago about a client who hasn't given us a review yet. We have all 5-star reviews. And if they don't give us a review, I will call them personally. I'll be like, "Sarah, hey, it's Corey." And she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And obviously they know it's me because I have my number saved. And, "Hey, thank you so much for, doing business with us. We need your review. And if there's something you didn't like, feel free to put it on there. That's what this is for. We need the opportunity to grow." And immediately we'll get a review right after that. And because we want them to know, like, it's important to us that we did a good job for you. Like that relationship is important to us. And I feel like when we make those kind of calls like that, because they won't respond to my wife, but they'll respond to me, that they know we care. And so we're very purposeful on, hey, I'm going to see this through, Sarah, until the day we die. I'm your realtor for life. So I'm not going away.
In the world we're in, the last 10 years, people live and die by those reviews,
Oh my gosh. You guys are looking great. So I can't
Absolutely.
imagine. Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you do normally in your process of closing out with a client in a transaction to ask for a review? Is there an automated service you use? Is it just part of, what do you guys do on that? How do you make sure that happens normally?
Yeah. So we've gone back and forth on automation on that kind of thing. However, if we want the relationship to be there, then I think it's important that I pick up the phone and have the conversation with them.
Mhm.
It's a 2-minute conversation.
It's
And
probably,
so
I mean, that probably helps the review a little too.
Good
right,
point.
it does. Um, so we pick up the phone and we ask for the review. We will text them the link. Uh, yeah, it's from our
Where are you
phone.
sending them? What link are you providing?
Oh, so we focus on our Google review
Okay.
page, and so if you
Okay.
want to find us, that's where we are. And
Gotcha.
so and that's another tool we use with expireds. And when we're calling, I'll just send that link, say, hey, look, I'm no fly by the night realtor. Like I
Right.
sell real estate. Here's my here's testimonials. Go look. Here's our website. Go look at our reviews. Like we legitimately will sell your house. But
Just understanding there's so many places to aggregate reviews. It's always really interesting to hear where where a top agent will be pointing their review source. So it sounds like
we
you're not
think,
just
yeah,
getting it, but using it, which is great.
we think Google's the best because it's the most used search engine. So we decided to use Google for that
Well, I mean,
purpose. So
because I mean, when you think about it, people are going to often go to Google and just type in your name.
yes,
They know they can go to Zillow and maybe you're there, maybe you're not, but they
yeah,
know they can type in Google and find something on you.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a good
yeah,
point. That's a good point.
yeah.
So,
That's awesome. So the goal next year is going to be 71 transactions. Did I
hmm
remember that correctly?
hmm
So when you guys think about changes you're making in the fourth quarter to go from your unit goal of 44 this year to 71 next year, what particular tweaks, where are you guys leaning into what you currently do or what you want to supplement for that? That's a big increase. I can't do the math that fast because it's not 3%, but I mean, that's a big jump. So what
It's
does that look
definitely
like?
more than a 30% increase. We know it's a stretch goal, and however, we know if we're not pushing ourselves, we won't grow. And I definitely want to continue to grow. So
Mhm.
I know it's a stretch goal, and yet we're gonna push ourselves. So one thing that we're doing is we're going deeper in our area. So now that we got a lot more systems in place, we're gonna
Mhm.
focus more on just little small like advertisements in Google and just different layering effects in our area right here. Uh,
Mhm.
Probably average sales price where we're at is around 500,000. We're in a great
Mhm.
area
You are.
here. Yeah, it's kind of West Fort Worth. Um, and so my goal is to increase my contacts. And so, excuse me. So we're going to continue to go deeper and just get our systems better as well.
Mhm.
And this quarter, we took 5 listings this week for a total of
Wow.
2.4 million in volume just this week alone.
Holy
It was a
mackerel.
good week. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a good week. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And they were all off expired listings. So
Wow.
every single one were expired listings. So and this year alone, 19 of our closings have been from cold calling, and we're going to
Oh,
close
wow.
44 this year if
So
everything
nearly
closes that
half.
we have right.
Yeah.
Yeah, half my business is from cold calling. And
Wow.
so if I could tell anyone, just pick up the phone and ask for business. Just fail through it. Ask for business, figure it out as you go, and you're going to pick up listings here and there. And before you
Yeah.
know it, you're going to get this momentum and it's just going to start popping. That's basically what I did. I didn't know what I was doing. I just
so can they fly into DFW and watch you for a morning?
absolutely. I have an agent coming Tuesday morning to
There you
shadow me.
go. You know, and it serves both sides. One of the nice things is
Yeah.
when somebody comes to shadow you, you're going to use the show off factor and you're going to do stuff you normally haven't been doing. You know, it's all
That's
good.
right.
That
All
is all
good.
good. It's really refreshing to hear you talking about that kind of a growth plan with doubling down on a fundamental as opposed to looking for an expensive, shiny thing to grow the business. And I think it's really easy to get distracted. And I think that's a really just super solid
Yes.
plan for you guys.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
exciting.
the analogy is athletics. You know, you take any sport and you just keep honing it and 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 honing it, and your batting average keeps going up, and
Yeah.
so does your income. So,
That's exactly right. I feel like the more leveraged items that we have, and we have more, you know, prominence. I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for. People will see how bona fide we are as a team,
Right.
small team, and they'll hope. My conversion rate's about 75% at the dining room table sitting there.
Yep.
Want to get that up, so I have lots of room for improvement. So
when you go on 10 appointments, you're taking 7 to 8 listings. Is that
mhm,
batting average?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Awesome.
which is probably right where you want to be because
yeah,
occasionally you don't want them and occasionally they
yeah,
don't want you.
yeah.
Right.
right.
Yeah, at least that. So to get to 75%, it sounds like you're doing a lot of pre-qualifying ahead of actually arriving there.
Yes. I use the question when, when I come out and meet with you and everything sounds great and you feel comfortable and confident I can sell your house, Ren, are you prepared to list your home with me? If they can't even give me a small percentage of hope in my heart, I am not going to that listing appointment. I'm not wasting my time, and I'm gonna keep moving on. But I'll
And
follow
do
up
you
with
have a
them.
series of questions you're taking them through ahead of time to make sure
Yeah.
that there are no surprises?
Yeah. Net sheet, how much you owe your mortgage? Are you interviewing other agents?
Right. Will both of you be there? Blah, 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 and all that.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Realistically, what do you think your house is worth so I can overcome that objection at the table? So it's always price and commission, honestly,
Right.
when I sit at the table. So
Okay. This is beautiful information. This is powerful stuff. And
Absolutely.
this is something somebody's going to want to watch 3 or 4 times to absorb, because there's so much material here today.
oh my
Corey,
God.
this is a treat, and we're very, very grateful for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And we appreciate your time, taking the time, and and again, coming in contribution to help some people out here that would love to get to where they're taking several listings each month and keep building that business. So,
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's a lot of fun to see what you're doing, and it's just so purposeful and it's so skill-based that no one can ever take that away, which is great. So
Thank you.
Now, here's the interesting thing. A lot of people move to where you are, and a lot of people have a listing that they're going to move somewhere else. What's the best way for them to reach you to send you a piece of business?
They can email me at Corey Daniel at Fathom Realty, or just look up Corey Daniel Fort Worth. The Daniel Real Estate Group is kind of our brand, and just look us up. We're there. So find us on Facebook, find us on Google. Those are really the 2 best places to find us.
awesome.
Wonderful.
Take 52. Find me on Take 52.
I know. Go to take52.com
yeah.
and go to take52.com, sign up, and you can talk to Corey. You can have a live chat with him.
That's right.
Very cool.
That's it.
Good.
Corey, this was a treat. Just a treat today.
you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We
you for having
appreciate
me.
it so much, Corey. Thank
Hey,
you again.
appreciate you guys.
And thank you, Sarah, for being here. Thanks,
Oh, it's my
everybody. And
pleasure.
we'll see everybody next week.
Take care. Thanks again.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.